Harbor High School could be two guys, son.
Yeah, I know. It's terrible, wasn't it?
You know what's going on?
Huh?
If they still got their what's going on hand, they win the 4 games.
They can't catch. They got rid of Holland today.
Yeah. They win the 4 games.
Huh?
Huh?
The Eagles got rid of Holland. They put them on.
I mean, if they win the 4 games they got coming, which are winnable, they win that division.
How about the Phillies with Wheeler, picking Wheeler up?
Yeah, and
106
they
million.
they got rid of Franco.
Yeah, they should have got rid of that man.
What,
They're a bunch of characters. But Wheeler's a good pitcher.
I know. Yeah, well, that's what they need.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I would say, oh, okay. Interviews, we have to do moral support. You can moral support me when at number 4.
You can come in second, actually.
Okay.
So how many people are here for this meeting? Oh, here we are, here.
I'm trying to.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
What are you doing? Counting how many
He's learning
interviews?
how to count.
10 people?
For interviews?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
And we're,
Yes.
what is it, EAC?
I should know I've done this a few times.
It's a work session. I can call to order.
Yes, you can, please.
Okay.
Hopefully it spouses.
By the authority vested in me, I hereby declare this meeting of the Conshohocken Borough Council duly open and ready to conduct any business that may come before it. Good evening, Jen.
Hi.
Okay. The first item on our agenda is interviewing Jennifer McCracken for the Marywood Park Commission. So, welcome, Jen.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Thanks for coming out on such a miserable night. You want to start?
Yeah, Jen, why do you want to serve as a member again on the committee?
So we've been working on a lot of really great things on the park committee, and I'm really excited. I know with the next year coming up, there's a lot of things that we're doing for the anniversary, and I'm really excited to continue serving during this time of, I think, great change for the park. So it would be an honor.
Thank you. Anyone else have a question?
Yes. What skills do you think you bring to the committee?
So I feel like I'm a prompt person. I go to the meetings. I'm really active in it. I know different people in the community, and I think I'm able to bring different people to the park. We're basically there every day already, so it's so nice. And even the fellowship or the community center itself has been such a big change, and it's awesome having 2 young kids, and for myself being able to take classes there, and having the Marywood House being the historical beacon in this society is really, really special. I'm a history teacher too, so I really geek out on all those things when the dress, Marywood's dress came in. It was so exciting.
You'll be contributing to the community center soon,
I
correct?
hope so.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you see happening with the little White House in the park?
That is a great question. I will say this year the decorations for that area have been so nice, so beautiful. And I know we've talked a little bit about once the park opens, or the house opens for tours, doing some kind of tours and tea or bringing more guests in. I feel like that little house would be a nice extension for people. So whether that be a bridal shower area or having, that part of the greater park at large. I think a lot of people don't know about the house there and what it serves. People think someone lives in the house. So it's really cool to see how with the decorations that came out for the fall and then for the winter season, it definitely tied in with the house, which is really, really interesting.
So you have a couple of little children,
I do.
and when they have to go to the bathroom, you take them up to the fellowship house?
I take them to my house because I'm really close.
Okay, so you're close.
Yeah.
It would be nice to have that house made into a restaurant.
I would love that, just with friends in the area. But I do know, I just saw Sutcliffe was vandalized, and it's really tricky to kind of keep the bathrooms there nice and also, have them for the community members. And that's a tricky situation. So if there was some way to access, I don't know, a code, but even then, you never know what can happen. people today are smart. They can still get in and do stuff. So even if you have that code system, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. But again, when people go to the park with us, they use our house most likely. Yeah.
Remember that, Jen.
Yeah. Oh, you guys can use our bathroom whenever you need.
I have no questions. Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions for Jen?
Okay. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you so much. Have a great night. Stay
You too.
dry.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Kristen Hughes-Heel is next, but she's unable to make it. We are trying to reschedule her for the 18th, so next will be Jason Fortenberry.
Good evening, Jason.
Hi, John.
Hello.
So Jason, why do you want to serve as a member again on the Human Relations Commission?
Well, I've been on the Human Relations Commission since it started as a novel commissioner, and I would like to say that I've accomplished a lot, but we haven't received any complaints, which I think is a testament to the
Yes.
community we live in. But I believe that it's valuable to have the commission there as a resource should it be needed, and that it's a statement of our values, and so I believe in the mission of the commission, and just want to be there if needed.
Is there any way you would, any vision of like expanding? Is there anything you would like to see happen with that commission?
Yes.
Okay.
Accomplishing the vision is the challenge. I would like to have more commissioners with me.
Okay.
My challenge is just having the time to devote to planning activities or planning ways to get the word out about the commission. I think that's really what we need. We need somebody who has just more time to speak or develop presentations and do that. I could be someone who could deliver
Right.
when needed, but I don't really have the time to devote to going and finding organizations or meet groups that I could speak with. I think that's really what we need. We need advocacy.
Okay.
And I don't pretend to believe I can fill that role, but that's what I would like to see. I would just like to see more awareness, and I think we accomplished that and still receive no complaints. I'll
That would be
consider
great.
the mission accomplished.
Yeah.
So how many people are on the board now?
I'm honestly not sure, because when we were going through the renewal, I think a couple people may have.
I think it's Stacy, isn't it?
Stacy was the other one.
2. And how many member board is it?
3.
There's 2 on it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
The
full?
third.
And who are the other members? Stacy? Okay.
Oh, that, okay. Okay. So, okay, that's,
Yeah, so I haven't had a chance to meet them yet, so I should
Okay.
do that.
And-
Assuming I was reappointed.
okay. And maybe as a group, we can think of ways to get you a little more public.
Yeah, I think that's, by the time my term expires, I can say that we've got at least a presentation, something to say
Right.
we were out.
Right.
Raising awareness, I think that would be a fair expectation for the next
Okay.
term.
It is, yes.
That's,
Probably the administration can organize a meeting of the 3 of you, so we can get you together and maybe start collaborating on an envisioning of how, that's something that you can do right away.
I would definitely
Based
like,
off of what your research is like.
That would be
yeah,
great.
definitely do
that would be great.
So
And then
you've
after,
never had a meeting together, the 3 of you?
Those 3, no. The last meeting, it's probably been well over a year.
Okay.
so after the meeting, maybe we could run a little article in our quarterly news magazine to let the residents know that it does exist and these are the members, and if you have any concerns to contact the borough, and we would, help them with that, so to
I
get,
think we have a section on the website with a complaint form and more information.
Okay.
So that,
Right.
just directing people
That's
to
a
that.
start,
It's a
yeah.
start.
right,
Don't
that
we get any
recognition.
complaints yet?
No, sir, we have not.
But it's nice to know that it's there, so.
If the
I
need
think-
arises.
And I think we can all help with that, getting that, people more aware of it, that would be great.
Yes, and, you know, we have a state human relations commission, which we would obviously encourage people to take advantage of as well, who has more resources and staff. But
That's true.
I do believe that having it, you know, in Conshohocken is valuable.
Yes.
And it's meaningful to the residents and our visitors, so we can say, this is what, you know, this is who we are and what we believe in, and it's reflected in this commission.
Great. Anyone else have any questions for Jason?
No, not really.
Thank you, Jason.
Thanks
Thanks for coming in,
Yes, thank
and
you.
your service.
Yes, thank you for having me.
No, it's a public meeting.
All right.
Good evening again, Janine.
Yeah, good evening, council members and everyone else.
Thank you for coming in.
Glad to.
Janine, what would be your top priority as a member on the sewer authority?
My top priority for the
Am I
sewer
doing it
authority,
wrong?
honestly, at this point, making sure the sewer authority stays municipal. That would be my top priority right now. You know, I think there's a lot of great things that we do, and we do a lot for the community, and I think that we're a huge benefit, and so things being as they are, that's my top priority.
Okay.
So Janine, you're a member now?
Currently, yes,
For
sir.
how long? How long?
5 years.
5 years.
Janine, what motivates you to be on the sewer board?
That's a very interesting question. Initially, I would say I didn't know. When it was 5 years ago, if we were to rewind the clock, I would say I wasn't sure. Now that I'm involved, first of all, and I think I put this in my little interview packet, I am a little bit of a science nerd. So learning all the stuff that in the biology and the infrastructure and the engineering aspects really interests me. And so at that level, being that it interests me, I think it allows me to participate more deeply in what the engineer has to say and be a more productive member. Additionally, I think I see that the board that we have is, we all enjoy being with each other, we all enjoy being part of the community, and we very much value what we do for the community. I think we're responsive to citizens. I think we actually give back in a meaningful way. It's my opportunity to be part of the community. I mean, I'm also involved in Fun Fest and things like that, and that's all wonderful. But I see this as a very meaningful way that I contribute to the borough, and I appreciate that. I think, you know, things happen. You know, people have hardships. We're able to one-on-one deal with those issues. We're able to think outside the box. We're able to provide different alternatives. I think we are responsive to constituents' needs when they place, you know, the odor control project, for example. You know, we responded to that. We're able to do that. And I think I just look at the board and I see what we do, and I'm honestly passionate about it, and I'm glad to be a part of it. I think I may have gotten off topic, but that's maybe a long-winded answer.
That's great.
No, that's great.
When you see something happening in the authority through administration or in a complaint, what do you or the team do with that to affect change?
I think a number of different things, actually. I think, you know, obviously it depends on the situation. So let's say, and, you know, I think people come in with issues. So I don't want to be, you know, too specific because we have a upcoming presentation, but I think let's just, for example, I'm going to pick the restaurateurs and the EDU, you know. let's just pick that problem, because sometimes, the penalty waivers, those kinds of things are kind of easy, depending on the situation. Is this person a chronic offender? Some of those are a little more cut and dried. But generally, when a larger issue comes into play, something that affects more, that has a larger reach of an impact, what I would say occurs is that, the issue comes up. We have our professionals who provide us with the insight as to, kind of legally and, best practices should occur, okay? But then there's the constituent side, and there's the reality side to, okay, yes, we're able to do this, we can do this, but now what should we do? And I think as a team, and I really do feel it's a team, I think the professionals and the board members really, collaborate well. We each bring a different point of view. We each bring a, different set of life experiences. For example, picking on that one particular issue, me personally, my father was a restaurant owner. And from the time I was born until 2010, my grandfather built the restaurant in 1937, my father ran it until 2010. So we're talking about these increase in EDUs and essentially a monetary hit to small business owners. And that's significant. And while, yes, we have the right to do certain things, myself as a board member, I come with different life experiences. And I say, you know what? You send someone this bill, that's a game changer for them. So let's think about ways that, yes, okay, maybe we need to accomplish this goal, and maybe this is what we equitably need to get to for the health of the borough and its constituents and the commercial properties as well. But reality, let's see what we can do as a team and provide different alternatives and work with, being fair to all factions. And I think each person on the board, in addition to the professionals who are sometimes able to provide, best practices from other municipalities and what other, municipalities have done as alternatives, there's really an interaction and an exchange that I value and I think is a great value to the community. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah, I just have one additional
Yep.
question to that. So at what level do complaints escalate from administrative staff to the professional and the board level? Do all complaints come all the way through to the board, or are there things that are addressed at the administrative level or at the professional and administrative level that the board doesn't have to actually weigh in on? Are there policies that guide that?
Yes, okay, so for example, let's take our, prepayment discount, which I am a huge fan of. And that, administratively, that's a hassle for our team, okay, for the professionals at the board. So, because there's a lot of times where they have to go back. If, let's say, someone says, I made this prepayment and I should get a discounted rate, but it either wasn't received or it wasn't posted or the mail didn't get there, whatever that happens. What happens then is at, the authority level, not kind of escalating to the board. They will contact that constituent would contact the authority, and they would say, this is the situation, I sent it in, you didn't receive it till late, I didn't get my, my discount, whatever. That stuff all happens at the authority level. That doesn't reach us except for at our monthly meetings, they say, okay, we reversed X number of penalties, or we gave this. So that's an example of what kind of happens, like I'd say an issue that's handled there. There are also a lot of engineering and legal issues, particularly with small developments and things like that, we may discuss the kind of the highlights. They may not rise to, let's say, problems per se, but there may be discussions, there may be, plan modifications that need to be changed, things that, again, I'm not an expert in. While, some of the higher level issues interest me, I'm not going to be able to provide what an environmental engineer can provide, or municipal engineer can provide to that. So they deal with those kind of things only then when it gets to, and we are informed of them, but the issues are handled at a level that does not include the board. If there's an issue that cannot be remedied or there becomes some kind of conflict, then we step in and we say, okay, as a team now at a higher level, how do we want to move forward with this?
And is there a policy and procedure manual at the authority that tells us if we were interested in what level of what issue gets addressed by what level?
There is a policy and procedure manual that we do have at the authority, and I can tell you it's constantly being updated and modified to take, because sometimes we recognize, okay, if we make this decision, this will be a policy decision. This will be a procedural, this is something we want to implement. So to answer the question, I don't think there's necessary,
Here's the reason why I ask. So what I heard you, or how I heard you answer, is that the professionals are making decisions on engineering or legal, not necessarily getting that approval process from the board because they have the expertise. But if we don't have policies and procedures that are saying that that's appropriate, then we're delegating our authority to someone else who is not part of the borough. So I would say, as a resident, I would want to make sure that my board, who has interest in the borough, are the ones that are making the final decisions, and it's not left up to the professionals. The professionals present it to the board, who then can...
Well, yeah, I think to answer that, I guess, a little bit deeper, and we can certainly go into this later, I think what we're saying is, like, for example, those penalties. That's a procedure. That's a procedural issue. We have a thing in place. It just so happens that our municipal software isn't able to kind of we have to go in and reverse those charges. So that is someone who's not a board member, but that truly is more of an administrative function. Like in my job, that would be,
So we would have a policy
we do have a policy
that says,
yes.
We do this so that resident number 1 and resident number 15
are
have
absolutely treated
look
the same.
at it in the same way.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that.
Okay.
And the same thing with certain okay, you need this kind of pipe for this manhole and you need that kind of pipe for that. Those things, so if there's a plan that's presented and our engineer says, okay, you have an 8-inch pipe, but you need a 12-inch pipe. They deal with that. I'm not, qualified to make that decision. However, if it rises to the level where that developer or, whomever comes back and says, no, I'm not putting that in, then it comes to us.
Okay.
But it's just kind of the base level of review, normal, what a professional would normally do.
Sure.
But if there does come a point in time where there's that, the developer disagrees with the engineer, or I'm using that as just an example, then it does come to us and we do discuss those things. Does that clarify?
Yep, thank you.
Anyone else have any questions for Janine? Okay. Thank you, Janine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi.
Hi.
Good, how are you? Okay,
Okay.
I'm ready.
What do you believe is the role of the zoning board?
Absolutely. The role of the zoning board is to interpret zoning, review variances requested, and determine if variances are requested to the zoning. It's not to make zoning, it's not to enforce zoning.
So based on that, the zoning board member's role is to assure fair and equitable application of the zoning and land use regulations, right? That's basically what you just said. It's to interpret and carry out. So this question that I'm going to ask you is really about your decision-making processes.
Sure.
So how do you go about your decision process when you're presented with various applications? So what I mean by this is, you personally,
Yes.
what do you consider? What tools do you reference? Who do you confide in or ask specific questions to? And does personal preference to projects ever come into your personal decision process?
Absolutely. So, in essence, I'm following this as my Bible. I'm not in...
That.
This is the zoning, this is the old one, actually.
Zoning code?
Yeah, this is the old one because they don't print me out a new one, and this is what I've printed out from the web. But my role is to, as you said, to interpret this. So, in going through any application, it is not my judgment as to whether what they say is right or wrong, or whether I agree with it or I don't agree with it. So getting back to your question, I'll probably go in a little different order. It's not up to me what my preferences are at all. It is up to me to review the zoning code and to see if the application is in line with the zoning code, if there are hardships involved that make it worthwhile. I also evaluate the health, safety, and welfare of the borough. I also evaluate it relative to the comprehensive plan and the overall guidelines for what the zoning is trying to impart for the city, or the town, I should say. And then I use
I have a question real quick, just to
Absolutely.
interrupt that. What are the, where do those guidelines come from? The guidelines of zoning to impart into the borough?
The zoning is created by council, is my understanding. It
Yes.
starts with Montgomery County, and then you are the ones that enact the zoning ordinances.
Correct.
So I am there to interpret what is there, interpret the request for a variance or whatever they're asking for, and to see if it is, in my judgment, a hardship that they cannot comply with this, or if there is some other benefit to the borough to enact or to request a variance. As an example, we get quite a lot of variance requests for decks. And decks are very, very clear in terms of what they're allowed. In general, they, in my personal opinion, when they ask for a variance on that, it does not in any way harm the safety, welfare, or anything of the public benefit or the public welfare relative to those decks. When I ask questions during zoning hearings, if anybody has been there with me, I always ask, have you talked to your neighbors? Because regardless of the deck, if I had the neighbors there and they all said, oh, this deck is going to destroy my view or anything like that, then that absolutely comes into play, and I take that into consideration. So from my personal opinion, in terms of interpretation of zoning and whether a variance should be required, it's the health, safety, welfare, benefit of the borough, and public input is very important to me. I don't know if I answered all the questions or not.
I understand the public input.
Yeah.
But if the deck is being built to the borough's requirements and the code, how can you take and consider, I understand about the residents, I understand that.
Absolutely.
But is it fair to the applicant that you're going to deny it because the neighbor doesn't like the deck?
In my personal opinion, it depends upon the number of neighbors that come out. As an example, it was at Isabella's when they requested outdoor seating at, I think it was Isabella's. First time it came through, it went through, and there were quite a number of neighbors that came out and objected to it, and I voted against it. That same outdoor seating came back through a second time, and there was no objection to it, and they showed that they would take into consideration noise, light, and everything else for the neighbors.
You're talking two things here. You're talking a restaurant with a deck and noise and a pad. I'm talking about a residential deck that you were talking about.
Again, in my personal opinion, if there was a residential deck that came in and the neighbors, I'm not saying one neighbor because this is a matter of personal opinion, if all the neighbors around there came in and said, oh, this deck is, I don't like this deck, this deck should not be approved, I take exception to it because, they're going to be looking into my house and stuff like that, I might vote against it.
Thank you.
Sure.
So when do you not take the neighbors' feelings into consideration?
That's a good question, because I would have to say for more than 50% of hearings, at times, there have been people that have come in and been opposed to it. So you have to, in my opinion, you have to see whether it is an isolated case, whether globally it affects the neighborhood, or if it's just one person. There are cases where people come in and just to object to it. So it's a judgmental thing at that point. Also, and this for decks, it's probably not the case, but if there is hardships that the zoning ordinance really don't allow something, but it would be beneficial to the neighborhood in general. And some of it is restaurants, that we've allowed outdoor decks and outdoor seatings in neighborhoods that it's not permitted. But if they address noise, light, and everything like that, and there's still one neighbor that says, no, I don't want that, I would probably still pass that at that point if it's been addressed, that they've taken into consideration all the health, safety, welfare, noise, light, similar things that they object to.
So do you feel that the borough is being overdeveloped right now?
Oh, very good question. I think that,
sorry,
and
I don't mean to interrupt. Could you repeat that question? I didn't hear it.
I'm asking her if she feels that the borough is being overdeveloped right now.
Okay, I just didn't hear it. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Sure. So I think, I've been in Conshohocken for almost 30 years, and I love Conshohocken. And I love the way zoning has taken the lower avenues and on the river and tried to say, okay, this is special permit, we're going to allow the development here. This is going to be our town center, and I'm 100% for that. When you get into the upper avenues where we're residential office or something like that, I abide by what the intent, in my mind's eye, is of zoning, that they're trying to keep that more on the lower end of development. So I don't think it's specific globally to Conshohocken. I applaud what's going on the lower avenues.
So Jan,
Yeah.
when you say that you like what's going on in the lower avenues,
Yes.
and you use the comprehensive plan, and you use the zoning book,
Yes.
all the tools that we want to be using, because they are developed by residents and groups for the strategic vision of the borough. So based on what you just said, what I would ask of you is to go back to the current comprehensive plan that talks about connecting the lower end of town to the upper end of town, and help us look at zoning ordinances that will allow that to happen, because that was developed by the residents in the task force to be able to connect the lower end to the upper end of town. So I would just put that out there for you.
Sure.
That in the comprehensive plan, historically, maybe not, but in the new plan, the community is looking for an expansion of our main street. So I would just put that out there.
Okay.
For you.
Great.
But based on that, have you ever provided feedback to the borough personally or through the officers of the board on items that are in existing ordinances that you feel need attention? And do you think that you have a platform to be able to do that as a board member?
I think I have a platform to do that, or to voice my opinion as a citizen, but not as a zoning board member. So again, I see my role in zoning as merely interpreting these and applying it towards variances. And I've been told, and I can't remember when, because when the last time you revised the zoning, it may have been Chris Settler, but don't quote me on that if I had any opinion on it, that I was more than welcome to come to the council hearings and voice my opinion as a resident also. And I've come to council meetings also.
So I would invite you, if you have specific things that are constantly coming up, to share that with the 7 council member team or someone you're comfortable with, because it's important for us as we develop the ordinances to know what challenges the folks who are enforcing, executing that are having, so that we can get the ordinances to the point where they actually will reflect how the borough needs to look and make your job a little bit easier in interpreting the regs.
Sure, absolutely.
Anyone else have any questions? Jen, I have one more. Do you feel you have any conflict of interest in being reappointed to the zoning hearing board?
No. However, when I do have conflicts of interest, I recuse myself, and I have recused myself in the past, because I am a structural engineer, and for instance, the SOAR West, we are the structural engineers on that. Now, that didn't come before zoning, but if it had, I would have recused myself.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything
Thank-
further?
No, thank
Would you be voting on me tonight?
No.
We won't be making votes tonight.
Great, thank you.
There is a scheduled break, but we are behind schedule, so we're going to keep going if everyone's okay with that.
Hello, everyone.
Good evening.
All right.
How you doing, Russ?
Lay it on me.
Russ, why do you want to serve as a member of the zoning board hearing again?
It's something I can give back a little bit of my time. It's not much. It's easier than being a firefighter or something like that, but I have time. I'm retired now, and I enjoy doing it, and just something to help out the community. That's all.
We do need firefighters.
Sorry.
It's the young guys, right, Russ?
Russell, what special skills do you think you bring to the committee?
Not really any special skills. Maybe just a different perspective. Like there's people that are like attorneys on there that are better with some of the legal ends. I don't know. I feel like I sometimes have a common sense perspective. I just lived here forever.
Right.
But I mean, my skills are with my hands. And I don't use that as zoning. But
No, that's good.
Common sense is a good skill.
You learn through that what you can and cannot do with the zoning?
no, you would think so. It's more building. Zoning is more with the laws and rules and variances, but building doesn't help that much. I don't think with zoning.
Do you feel that the borough's being overdeveloped?
Maybe a little bit. Not that much. I mean, it's going to get developed. It's going to happen. I mean, there was one little thing that just happened that I didn't agree with down, I think it was on High Street, that new development. It's like 300 apartments right by the bridge. I think that's a little bit of too much stuff. Only because there's one way in and one way out. I didn't like that idea. It's a lot of people in one place, and I thought that was a little overdone. Everybody tries to put 10 pounds of stuff in a 5-pound bag, and I think that's overbuilding. Having one way in and one way out with all them people in there, but I don't mind when you knock a house down and put 2 in. I know people complain about that. It's when you do the 3,000-4,000 people in a building that's overdevelopment, but like maybe the Millenniums or something like that. But that's it's in a remote area. There's 5 ways in and 5 ways out, so not too much overdevelopment. Just that one.
Oh, no, there's 5 ways out.
Maybe there's more than one way in and out. Yeah, that one place down there only has one. That's all.
Would you feel better if they had another way out? Would you feel
Down there, yeah, I
comfortable
would.
with
Yeah,
that
if there was at least
construction?
another.
You're talking about Matson Mill? The old Navy place?
If you're going over the bridge, it's right down the right. I thought it was called High Street.
Oh, there's
It's
51.
part of Navy's property.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
that's Matson Mill.
Matson Mill.
Matson Hill, you're calling it?
Yeah,
Yes, that will have a second row.
There's 2 access points.
yeah.
Right.
Washington Street and Oak Street, so they're looking for one to get
Well, good.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
going to connect under the bridge. You can go
Oh.
that way.
Yeah.
Right. So there are 2 exits.
To put your mind at ease on that one.
Right.
But then isn't there one, I mean, that gets you out to your, I believe you. I just thought there was one.
Oh, there is 2.
crossing over to Oak Street, so Oak Street will not connect to Elm Street, so you'll have like out initially Washington.
Was that on the original plans? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's 2 access points.
All right.
So Russ, I'm going to ask you a question that kind of leads us to how you come to your decision processing. So when you're presented with an application, how do you go about considering it? What do you consider? What tools do you reference? Who do you confide or ask questions to when you have those? And do you have personal preference that goes into your decision process?
Trying to think of an example. I mean, I just look at it. I think I look at the neighbors, immediate neighbors. You always ask, have you talked to your neighbors? And just how it's going to affect the borough. I don't really talk to anybody about it. I just look at how it's going to affect the borough and if it's legal or not legal, and if they need a variance, or, you know, if it's a little variance or if it's an overbearing variance, you know.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? No? Thank you, Russ.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Don't forget your coat.
Hi. Hi. How are you?
Good evening, Jacqueline.
Ready.
Okay. Jacqueline, why would you like to serve on the Planning Commission again?
I feel like I still have so much to offer, given that the term was short, and I didn't really get to experience it, you know, as well as I wanted to. I've learned a lot. I feel like there's so much more to learn, and I just want to always do more and always. I mean, now I can say I'm a Conchi person. I don't no longer say Conshohocken. so I just feel like with just learning to read the materials, understanding how to read the maps, all that stuff has, I've come, you know, from the very beginning, I was just like, oh my God, this is, you know, it's different, you know, from being a teacher. But nonetheless, I feel like I can always, there's possibilities of me always growing in everything that I put myself involved in, because I give 100%. So I just want to continue to do that.
So you say you took somebody's place? Or how long have you been on the board?
It's my understanding that I'm just here for 6 months covering someone else that left.
That's what I thought.
Devin Boyle unfortunately got a new job and she had to step down and Jacqueline filled that role. So Devin's term is up at the end of this year, so it's been a quick 6 months.
Do you feel that the borough is being overdeveloped?
I'm sorry?
Do you feel that the borough is being overdeveloped?
Overdeveloped? Well, given that Conshohocken is only but so big, my thing is I think we're going to have to eventually start building up instead of building sideways because of the size of Conshohocken. And it's just looking for the right locations for those type of build, you know, depending on the project that comes into Conchi. But if we continue going the way that we're going, yeah, I can literally say it could be overdeveloped to a certain point. But if we look at the projects that are going to help expand and build up, I think we'll be fine.
So you like the idea of a hotel going up?
Have you seen that? It is amazing.
No, that's the office building.
Well, whatever
not
it is,
the
it's
hotel.
beautiful. It's
Yeah.
just like I can only imagine how that's going to change the platform of Conshohocken altogether. So that's exciting to know that.
When them buildings went up in West Conchi, everybody said, wow, look how big they are. Now people don't even notice them.
I know. But it looks great, just seeing it being built and just the anticipation of what is to come. So that's exciting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jackie, as an appointed position, what's one thing that you need from the borough that would make your job better, easier, or more fulfilling?
With this experience being a planning commissioner, I just needed more support as far as understanding of what who I can go to talk to. It was my understanding that I wasn't supposed to talk to anyone, so that's kind of a lot of the stuff I was kind of left to kind of figure it out on my own. And I kind of questioned that being an advisory board.
But nonetheless, I feel like if I had more support, more background knowledge, who can I go to if I have specific questions about certain things? That would be great. I think that would help me a lot because I'm pretty quick at learning and doing stuff. It's just having the right resource.
Who told you weren't allowed to talk to him?
One of our planning commissioners. I don't know if I should say that.
Yeah, don't go there, Bob. Don't go there.
We're not here to snitch.
Yeah. Yeah, you, it's me. I'm here.
Oh,
Okay?
yes.
Anytime.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Not a problem.
Do you think you have any conflict of interest to be reappointed to the Planning Commission?
I don't see myself having a conflict of interest with what I already do in the community. So I don't see that as being a conflict. I mean, going from education to this, it's like apples and oranges. So, so I think I'm okay.
Okay, thanks.
Does anyone else have any questions for Jackie?
No.
Okay, thank you, Jackie,
Thank you.
Thank you.
and thank you for your service.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Do I come back for the other piece or for the Hispanic heritage?
When we vote.
Or, okay, I'm good.
We'll let you know. We'll let you know.
Okay, then I guess I'm
Unless you
inviting
wanna
all
stay
of you
out for
guys
the
to be
night.
there. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great one.
Thank you. See you, Jen.
Buenas noches. She's so much fun. Oh my God, we have a blast. Oh, her again.
Evening, Council.
Good evening, Miss Holland.
How are you?
Hi, Stace.
Good. So, Stacy, why would you like to serve as a member on the Planning Commission again?
I've been on the Planning Commission for 2 years now, and it's been a very educational opportunity for me to actually have a chance to see what the borough's up to and kind of have a chance to ask some questions and kind of see what's the best direction for the borough to go and kind of help that along the way. And it's been interesting, it's been fun, and I've been really enjoying it, and I'd like to continue to do so.
So I asked this question to all of you. You feel that the borough's being overdeveloped?
I don't. I think it is appropriate development. If you think back 100 years ago when all those factories were in town, I'm sure they thought that was overdevelopment. And then in the 80s when there was nothing here and there was nobody here, and that wasn't good for the borough either. And I think when that turn finally made to go commercial and use that land and build office buildings and things like that, I think that's just, it's the nature of it. And Conshohocken is a very desirable location. And the development's not going to deter anybody who wants to live here from coming here. And you can't, there's rules and regulations in place for a reason, and as far as I can see, those are all being followed. You can't say no to something if it's already zoned for it, so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy.
Stacy, this kind of goes to your decision-making processes in the planning. How do you make your decisions on the various plans put in front of you? What do you consider? What tools do you reference? Who do you confide in for information? Does your personal preference come into play? How does your decision?
I take each item that comes up as its own individual merit and basis. I take a look at how it might impact immediate and then maybe a secondary area. We use the comprehensive plan a lot to make our decision making, and that came up a lot with the housing developments that have been going in. And Roback, what else are you looking for? I'm sorry.
Do you put your personal preferences in play when you're making your decisions?
There's rules and regulations in place. You know, my personal decision has nothing to do with anything else. I use the letters from the different, from zoning, from Chris or from Karen, from Mike, and he's there for our reference, and he's got the legal expertise and background that I don't have either. So as long as everything is being done legally and everything is being agreed upon by the borough experts, I have no problem in approving things that come forward to the Planning Commission.
So you feel the Planning Commission's on the right track?
I feel like there might be some changes that could happen. I think we need a good, solid unit, and I think that's been very difficult this past year. We've only had 4 meetings in 12 months with adding a new person. And I think that's tough. I think there's a learning curve to planning commission. You're looking at things like building plans and I'm trying to think, just a bunch of different stuff that other people maybe aren't even used to looking at. And not having meetings on a regular basis makes that difficult. I think we are on the right track with planning commission, and I know we have a vacancy right now. And if we can get somebody that can work well with the other 4 of us that are on planning commission, I think that we could succeed going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy.
You're welcome. That it?
Yeah, that's
Oh, there you go.
You're perfect, thank you.
Wait. Gotta ask the conflict of interest. Do you
Sorry.
feel you have any conflict of interest in being reappointed for this board?
No.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Good evening.
Good evening, Eliza.
Good evening,
for coming
everyone.
in.
Thank you for having me tonight. I am here tonight to request your reappointment as a member of the Environmental Advisory Council. I have been serving the council for a year and a half, more or less. For me, it has been a great experience, both to connect with the community and develop a project, as you might know, Ready for 100 initiative related to renewable energies. And since we have achieved great results in the past, I would like your support to keep working on that project, and in the next few years, perhaps come up with an energy transition plan.
Do you see the EAC moving forward at a good pace with the environment and what they see us doing here within the borough?
I think we have a number of initiatives tackling environmental issues from different perspectives. And some of them are progressing faster than others, some are more complex than others. So I feel we are doing great progress. For the initiatives that are a little bit more complex, probably it will take more time to come up with effective policies or strategies. But I feel in the past, I felt that the Borough Council was giving us great support for all initiatives. We had some of you also coming out and helping us on our events in different occasions. So that shows that a great interest from your side in supporting us.
Elisa, can you talk about some of your community outreach while you've been on the EAC?
Yes, so it's a little bit connected also with the initiative I'm working on because the nature of it is creating a community support since it's a grassroots movement. But I was trying to reach out to different community stakeholders. I started with the Conshohocken Elementary School last year, and we developed a number of events with the kids, number of workshops with the kids. Also for Earth Day, we were there representing the community. And also with the after-school program, I have done a couple of workshops. I have in the past worked with the public library. I know the director has changed, so personally I still have to introduce myself with the new director, but I will do that as soon as I can. And also we are also trying to reach out different stakeholders, so not specifically myself, but indirectly I will reach out to businesses, I will reach out to residents, And that will be done in conjunction with other initiatives like the business recognition program. I think for the initiative I'm working on, it's very important for us to being able to speak with different representation of the community that goes from businesses, kids, families, and all people involved.
Thank you, Eliza. Does anyone else have any questions? No. Thank you for coming in, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Matt. Good evening, Matt.
How's it going, everybody? Hi.
Thanks for coming in again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, Matt, why do you want to serve as the member on our vacancy board?
Well, I'm pretty involved with the EAC, and I'm pretty passionate for this borough, and I think that I do a good job. I think I have a pretty good grasp of the issues that the borough faces. I've been the chair of the EAC for over 3 years now, and I think I have even a better grasp now than I did this time last year when you appointed me.
Do you know what the vacancy board does?
I do.
Okay. You know it's a nonpartisan position?
I do, yes. Yes.
Are there any other members of the vacancy board?
No.
So you're a single member?
I think it's only one person on the board, yeah.
Do you have many meetings?
Not yet, right?
We haven't had to use you for anything at this point, right?
No,
Correct?
no.
Okay.
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's just been sitting here and waiting, but then again, I'm glad you haven't had to use me because we have a great council.
So if we did have to use you,
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for your decision-making process. How
Okay.
do you think? What do you consider when you're making decisions? What tools would you use? Who would you confide in or request specific information of?
Yeah,
How would you
I
go
would
about
confide in you. I would confide in our borough manager, in our solicitor. I know that with this square mile, we have so much going on. It's a very unique community, and I understand, and I don't envy the decisions that you do have to make. You have to make some pretty tough decisions, and I know the decisions that you make can have a really big impact on our community. So I would rely on the experience that is on this council, for sure.
Not the borough manager or the solicitor?
No, he did say that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not the confide. Borough manager shouldn't be involved in the vacancy committee.
No, but it would be
like if something came before him.
Oh,
for
okay.
information and those kinds of things.
Yeah.
As well as our mayor.
Misunderstood him. Like I said, it's a nonpartisan position.
Yes, I understand.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Does anyone else have any questions for Matt? Thank you, Matt.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Go back outside.
Yes, thank you very much.
At this point, the special meeting is closed, so if you want to close the meeting and take a quick break, and then we'll start at 7.
Meeting